Hi everyone, Sat here. So in this tutorial we're going to be looking at adding animation to our flying gargoyle, and we're also going to add in the stone gargoyle and get things ready for when we're going to swap those two around in a future tutorial. So make sure you've hit the like button, make sure you're subscribed so you get a notification when you get when that future tutorial is ready. So hit that bell button as well, and let's get started. So let's animate our gargoyle, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to add an animator controller to the top of our gargoyle, and then I'm going to create an animator for that as well. So let's create some folders here. Let's create an animator folder, anim folder for animations and animator, and then let's also create a prefab folder for our prefabs, like our gargoyle, and we may have some more going forwards. Don't know why I can't drag it in. Did it go in? Let's have a look. I did. Okay, so let's go in our animation folder and let's create an animator controller. Let's call that gargoyle, and it's going to be flying. It's always going to be flying, this gargoyle, which I think would make sense for what we're trying to do. So let's take this gargoyle, let's throw in the animator controller here. Is it in? Yep, it is. Good. And then let's go to our animator window. This is our gargoyle animator, and then we want to go to animations. We've got our gargoyle selected. We've got the animator controller. So now we're going to just create our flying animation, and it's going to be a simple up and down motion based off of the wings, the pivot points of the wings that we've done. So we've done the hard work really. So I'm going to select anim, and I'm going to select the folder anim, and I'm going to save this as flying, and then hit save. And then once that's done, we can start adding the properties, and the properties we want to do for the wings. So let's select, let's hit record. Let's do this a quick way, and then let's select the left wing like that. And I think if we just go to, let's say, the 1 second mark, is it, or is it? It's 60 frames per second, so I think this is kind of the halfway mark. Let's push this wing up, the rotation of it up like that, and that saves that state. Let's take the right wing, let's do the same with that. And then we've got basically a bit of a flapping motion now, except what I'm going to do is just take this down here, just bring this down later on. It will automatically create the beg your pardon, automatically create the keyframe because we've got record on. Let's just bring this down to here as well, so both wings are flapping at the same time. Nice and low. I think is that low enough? Maybe we can do a little bit more. There we go. So we've got this situation here now where if I hit record, so if I hit play, it's a little bit of a flapping motion. There we go. I'm going to take the record. Is it? I'm going to switch record off for a second because I just want to see what the motion is bit by bit. I think this might be too quick, so I'm going to just select these and move them to the 1 second mark and hit play. I think that might still be too quick, or maybe my Unity is just lagging a little bit. Let's bring this back to here. It doesn't matter if it's flying quite slowly. I'm not trying to get this perfect. I'm just trying to get the general vibe of it. One thing I need to do is the wings at the beginning. I want this to be a nice looping animation. So I'm going to make sure the wings at the end position of these wings is the same as the beginning part, so it loops nicely. So let's hit play here. There we go. We've got kind of a flying motion. That works. That works well enough for this. We're not here to do perfect animations for flying. So we've got that. It starts off. The only thing we need to do now is make sure this flying animation, if we just select it in the anim folder, we just make sure it's a looped pose as well, so we tick that, and now we've got this gargoyle flying constantly. Now that's all we need really for this animation. There's one other thing we're going to do now. The whole point of this is kind of to have it so when the lights are off, this gargoyle's kind of flying around or maybe just flying on the spot. It's good enough. And then we also want to have it so that when the lights are on, when it's bright, this gargoyle tends to stone. So we need to do a few things now. We need to do we've got the flying animation. We need the stone gargoyle. So I've gone and found that on the Unity asset store, a free feline gargoyle. Now I know it's not the same looking one, but that's alright. Gargoyles, they're kind of magical creatures, so we can just say that it changes. If you were doing this for a professional game, you probably want to have the correct, perfect aligning objects and stuff, and maybe even have it so that this changes color to grey once it's frozen in place or something. But we're just doing something quick and easy, and we're focusing on the light aspect of light intensity aspect of Unity ARCore. So I'm gonna hit import for this gargoyle, get that in this stone gargoyle, and what we're gonna do now is have try and swap them out. So I'll hit import, and now I'm going to import all of these, and let's have a look at the animation for swapping the gargoyle, the flying gargoyle, and the stone gargoyle. So we've got the gargoyle here. Let's check out the prefab for this stone gargoyle. Oh, it's pretty huge actually. So let's just see which way he's looking. So he's looking the right way, which is good and good. Are they looking the same way? Strange. The rotation for this is this way. Global is. So this gargoyle, it looks like, is also looking the wrong way as well. So I'm gonna just go in here and flip this. I hope I haven't got this the wrong way round, but there you go. Let's see if I have. We'll have to work this out in the future tutorial. But for now, let's just assume that I am doing this right. Okay, so let's shrink this down. I think it will have to be a lot smaller than then 0.3, which is what we used for the other one. Let's have a look. I think 0.1 is about right. So it will hopefully look like this gargoyle is cracked open and the other gargoyles come out. But what I'm going to do is, we can see that the center point is here. I'm going to lift up this object, the child object, so that its feet are just on the floor. Now this is important, unlike the other one, because we do want it to look like it's on the floor when we place the statue. So what I'm going to do is also just add in a plane object here, and I'm going to hit reset, and I believe that should create a kind of fake floor. I'm going to zoom in now to here, and then we can still kind of see the gargoyles on 0000. The gargoyle beneath it, the child of it, needs to bring brought up just a bit more, so it looks like its feet are just on the floor. I think that's about right. So I think I'm happy with that gargoyle now. I'm going to hit apply. So now every prefab has the feline gargoyle anyway, stone gargoyle has that as well, and I'm going to delete this plane. Alright, so we've got stone gargoyle and we've got this other gargoyle here. And what I'm going to also do is, this is 00 here and this is 00 here. You can kind of see that they don't really match up that well. So I'm actually going to increase the height of this one up a little bit there, and just shift him across this there, and I think that will look like he's kind of burst out of him. Maybe even bring him up a little bit like there, right? So that looks like, so the 0 again, the 00 of this and the 00 of this are exactly kind of on the same point, right? Which is important, right? Because that way we can swap in and out, and this is going to look like a fairly good transition between the two. So how are we going to swap them out? There's loads of different ways to do that. I'm actually going to do a pretty easy one. Actually, I'm going to create a empty game object, and I'm going to just hit reset on this, right? And I'm going to set this as gargoyle parent, right? And the gargoyle parent is going to contain both of these gargoyles. Okay, now that's pretty important, because what we're going to do now is we're going to let me just click on the prefabs folder. I'm going to take this gargoyle parent and put it inside the prefab ones. The way this is going to work is we're going to place the gargoyle parent down, and the gargoyle parent is going to decide whether the feline gargoyle is showing or the gargoyle is showing. Now it's a feline gargoyle, it's called a feline gargoyle, but I'm going to change this to, just for our reference, I'm going to change this to stone gargoyle, and I'm going to change this to flying gargoyle. So it's a little bit more clear now for us. And let's bring the flying one back in so we can see that. Alright, so let's save this for a second. So how are we going to switch him? We're going to switch him based off of the light now. So we've got the 2 in, and we can create something, some sort of script here. But before we do that, so we've got our flying gargoyle, which flies, obviously, and we've got a stone gargoyle, but a stone gargoyle doesn't really do anything. at this moment in time, which isn't really that interesting. So let's make this stone gargoyle do something. The quickest thing we can do is just give it a rigid body. Rigid body, and add on a, I think actually maybe that's all we need for rigid, is a really rigid body. Let me just check. What I want to do is put a plane here, hit that plane to 0, 0. Let's just lift this gargoyle parent up. I believe that should, does this need a rigid body as well? This has got a mesh collider. So I think the gargoyle stone gargoyle should fall now and hit the floor. Let's have a look. I wonder now, do I need a collider as well? I don't think I do. I think it should just fall and hit the ground. Okay, so that didn't work. Also, I've noticed the stone gargoyle is set to static. It shouldn't be set to static at all, actually. That's not right. That's not going to work if it's set to static. And I don't know why we've got these errors coming up, but I'm going to ignore them because it doesn't seem to be, there shouldn't be any real reason for it. So let's ignore those. Okay, so it looks like we do need a collider on this little gargoyle here, so let's do that. Add a box collider. Alright, so let's increase the center point of this, bring this up a little bit to around here, and then let's increase the height, size of it. Now it doesn't have to be that accurate, we just want the ground of the collider to match the kind of feet. I think it's around there. And that should be okay. And let's just double check that. Should be okay. And let's just try that one more time. Hopefully what will happen is it fall and hit the ground here, hit this plane. Although this one isn't actually convex, so it probably wouldn't have hit it if that was the case. Alright, let's try anyway again. Try one more time. And I can never remember now, so I'm just going to, for the sake of, just so I can't get it wrong, let's just throw a rigid body on here as well, and let's make that kinetic so it doesn't move. Alright, let's try this one more time. And there you have it, it fell, which is good. That means we've got the right thing kind of happening here. Alright, so we've got the stone gargoyle falls, we've got the flying gargoyle that flaps its wings, but I'd like the gargoyle to actually move up, the flying one, rather than just kind of drop. Sorry, rather than just, you know, flap his wings on the spot. So I'm actually going to go back to that flying animation. Alright, and I'm going to make an additional change to that. I'm going to hit the record button. I'm going to hit the record button, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to have it so that the animation for flying is stretched out a little bit more. So I'm going to duplicate these here like that. So what we've got is this flying animation like this. It lasts a little bit longer. I don't know why that. Why is one wing going a little funky there? Let's delete that and undo that. Let's try that one more time. Select all of them. I don't think I selected them properly, so make sure you don't make the same mistake as me. Okay, so we've got this kind of animation here. Flies again, and then let's do it one more time. There, and there. And then I'm going to also add in a property for its transform position. and I'm going to have it so that the gargoyle itself here, right, no, maybe not here, maybe kind of like towards the middle of it, flies up like that. And so what we should get is this gargoyle flies up and then back down again, right? Not the kind of best animation, right? We could actually just do it so that if I move this hair, it'll fly up quicker. I can copy this, duplicate it here, so it flies up and flies down again. So move this over here, and I'm just moving the position one here, and the reason I'm doing that is it now will stay up in the air for longer and then drop, but I'm also gonna just paste that same keyframe in, and I'm going to just shift it up a little bit here, and then again here, shift it down a little bit here, and then let's move that over here, move this a little bit tighter, hit this one here again, up again, and then one more down again. Now I think that should create this kind of bouncing effect. There we go, like that. Right, which is, you know, it's not bad, right? It's not bad, it's not perfect either, because what we kind of want is the animation to almost be aligned with the wings flapping, right? So we kind of want it to flap down there, that to be the kind of fast point. So 2 seconds is probably pretty slow actually. Move it in to go up there like that, right? And then the wings probably want to bring this flapping animation. Now I know I said I wasn't going to do much on the animations, but I'm just kind of showing you how it should work, how it could work, and you can kind of see it look like he did a big a flap there, and then the movement went up. It went up there, so it looks like he's flapping and he goes up. And then when he's doing that, you probably want him to kind of fall a little bit and then go back up. So we can bring these back in a tiny bit, so it looks like he's kind of moving in line with the wing movement. Now I haven't done a great job, I admit, but I'm just showing you how you could do it. Alright, and then as soon as he finishes his flapping, he should fall like that back down again. Alright. Now that's one way of doing it. I'm actually undoing this though, because I don't want to do it that way. Just realized it's come to my attention. I don't want to do that. I'm going to leave this in though, the wrong way, one possible way of doing it. And I'll tell you why I don't want to do that in a second. I actually want it to be so the whole gargoyle parent is moving up and down. I believe that's what I want. And actually what I want is the stone gargoyle to be the box collide and the rigid body to be on the whole gargoyle. Otherwise what will happen is just the stone gargoyle will fall, right? And we don't actually want that. We want the whole thing to fall. So I'm going to take the rigid body and I'm going to put that on the gargoyle parent here. And I'm going to take the stone box collider and then put that on the gargoyle parent as well. So if you're wondering, what the hell are you doing, Sat? This is crazy. Well, this is huge. Let's check this down. Let's get rid of this stone one. The rigid body from here. and then let's go ahead and change this to 0, and let's change this to a 1 maybe. Let's try this to 0.1. I think I can bring this up to 0.5. Maybe too much. 0.1. Okay, it's getting better. So yeah, if you're wondering why I'm doing this now, I've decided to change it to this. It might become a little bit more clear towards the end, but the reason why is because I want it to be that when they're on the floor, they're both on the floor. Both these gargoyles on the floor, but only one of them is showing. So in this case, it would be the stone gargoyle. And then when they're flying, I want both of them to be flying. Then I want I want it to be only the flying gargoyle showing. Then I want the switch to take place when the lights go on again and it turns to the stone gargoyle. And then I want it to fall to the ground, right? To fall to the ground. So this is tricky in the sense of there's quite a lot of stuff kind of going on, and the logic's a little kind of different to the way we would do things. But when you think about it, it does make a lot of sense. So that means the animation for the flying cannot be just, the wings can definitely be just on the gargoyle, but the actual animation for the up movement can't just be on the stone gargoyle. Because if it's just on the stone gargoyle, only the stone gargoyle will move, only the flying gargoyle will move up. We need it to be on the gargoyle parent itself. The gargoyle parent needs to move up, and it can't really be an animation. It needs to be an actual upward movement on the y-axis, and that means gravity would need to be switched off as well. That way, or it needs to be kinematic so that it can go up. So we've got quite a bit to kind of add in here. Also, the ground floor can't be this plane, right? Because we're not going to have a plane. We're not going to have a plane on our ARCore, right? We don't have that. We just have the ARCore tracking thing. Luckily though, if you remember, not that long ago, just a few days ago actually, I made this ARCore video on occlusion, shadows, and the surface tutorial, which means, you know, we can automatically have a surface that objects can kind of roll on, or in this case, we have one where our gargoyle can hit the ground. So I'm going to download and use this link that's on that video. I'm going to get that project, and I'm going to go and save it in the assets folder. Right, and then I'm going to open that up, show in folder, going to unzip it. Now we don't need the ARCore folder from here. I'm going to get rid of this zip file. I'm going to go inside of here. We don't need all of this stuff. Actually, all we need is the Newston one. So I'm going to take this and I'm going to put it, I'm going to cut it. Can I cut? Can I control it? I don't think I've ever done control and cut before in my Mac. I can just copy it. Let's just do that. And then let's go back a folder to here, and let's paste it in here. Right, and then let's get rid of this one because this one has some good stuff in it, but we don't need it. As in, we've already got the Google ARCore in here, so I'm going to get rid of that. I just want this folder, which was done by Jonas, and you can see some information about him on that previous video that I just highlighted. So now we have that there. We can make sure we have a ground plane for our gargoyle, our stone gargoyle, or for all of them really. So let's take that prefab, which is the AR surface manager, and put that in here. Now we have a ground prefab as well. Now we can still use that plane for testing if we want, which is fine. But I just want to make sure we have something that can fall down and drop onto. Alright, so in the next video I'll look at how to actually get the swap. We've kind of done enough preparation now. I'll show you how to get that swap to take place using the actual light estimator as well.